Afternoon, everyone. Welcome back after the weekend. So here we are with, it's finally here, the Arcturus PP-19. We have been inundated with emails, etc., messages asking when we were getting this in. It is in now, and it will be available pretty much as we go live now. So if you want one, you can get one. As always, I'll go from the front and work my way back. But if you do have any questions, drop them down below. We'll flash them up on stream and try and get them answered as quickly as possible. The main one that a lot of people will look at is they will want to trick this thing out with sights, optics, and some other features as well. So there are a lot of options with this that you don't normally get on similar style platforms. But as always, from the front and working our way back. Oh, questions already. Reaper, very nice. Is she heavy? So for what is essentially quite a short platform and what's essentially almost like an SMG style platform, it is sort of 2.7-ish kilos, maybe a little bit over, a little bit under, but that is without a battery or BBs in as well. So think of carrying all some extra mags and everything like that. It's about 2.7 kilos. So coming to the front, we do have a underneath the quite unique style flash hider, we do have a 14mm counterclockwise thread. So any of your accessories that you want will click onto the front. If you wanted to put a trace unit, anything like that, so of the LCT suppressors or things like that that have the trace units in. Various different things you can attach to this. Speaking of LCT and things like that, the magazines, as far as we are aware and what we've looked at previous pictures and everything, the magazines are not compatible with the LCT ones, so we will have the magazines coming. But currently, we believe that these are proprietary mags and they are only built for this one. So if you're wanting spare mags for this one, you will need the Arcturus ones. If you already have an LCT one, these mags won't fit in the LCT. There's a slight difference in the top. So coming back from the front, we do have the fixed iron sight part of the gas block, and it does have a pin style front sight. Again, elevation adjustment there, and you've got a range style adjustment on the back as well, with this sliding backwards and forwards, with the rear sight actually being in the center here. Again, this is more akin to the real steel thing. It's got little numbers on it that is designed to be the range that you want to roughly zero to. But again, it's airsoft, so you kind of just sort of, it's there for looks rather than anything else. Coming back, we do have some of the polymer parts. So the front handguard is a two-piece, so we've got polymer upper and polymer lower. The lower does have an inbuilt rail section on there, so this isn't removable. It is actually part of the lower receiver. Again, with the rail section that's on the side, this is molded into the rail system, so unfortunately, a little bit that this one's molded in. Again, it's akin to the real steel variant that if you are left-handed, you can't remove this, whereas there isn't a rail system on the left side. So, and again, with it being an AK style platform, shooting this left-handed would be terrifying in shooting a real one with the bolt flying backwards and forwards. So you're going to want to shoot it right-handed anyway. One of our sling points is on the front here as well. So just on the left-hand side, we have one of the sling loops at the front, and matching that, you do have one at the back of the stock here. So it gives you options to two-point sling it, and then when the stock's folded away, you can bang a sling onto the bit on the stock as well. ODST, what's the best battery for it, and what's the space like? The box and everything, so this does have a MOSFET. I think it's the Pico MOSFET that's in this. So they're saying it is 11.1 ready. We haven't tested that yet, so we are suggesting for now to stick to a 7.4. But the battery compartment, pressing this button, lifts it up, and this whole section here is your battery compartment. As you can see, that's the MOSFET there, the Pico. So you do have a decent sized battery compartment, and you do have the gap at the front here, so you could slide it forward a little bit, but you are looking at a stick style battery, and it is a Dean's connector. Inside the box there is an adapter, so if you don't currently have any Dean's batteries, there is an adapter in the box. So if you've got Tamiya batteries already, you can sort of stick the adapter in there and run it for a little bit until you change your batteries, etc. But run it on Dean's. It's the MOSFET is 11.1 ready. We haven't done any proper testing yet with the gearbox and everything, so currently we are suggesting 7.4 just to prevent any issues, just purely because our power limits, etc. What's the trigger response like? It is an inline MOSFET, so it is still a standard Arcturus style gearbox and trigger system, so it's very similar to a standard AEG. It does have a sort of click to it slightly, but it's a little bit better than a standard AEG, but you do have a sort of bump into the trigger. Again, this is just the way that Arcturus build their things, almost on a cam style thing inside. Putting it through the chrono felt very similar to a standard AEG, but that sort of spin up and hit was very, very good. Rate of fire was really, really nice, and this thing's coming out about 325 FPS as well. So again, perfect for SMG. You want to run this in CQB, you're under that sort of 328 power limit that it's getting very, very rare now, but there are some CQB sites or some indoor sites that do have a slightly lower power limit. That's the sort of 328, the bang on 1 joule mark. But again, it is a quick change spring at the back, so if you are dominantly an outdoor player, it is possible to play around with this and do some tricks with it. Brett on Facebook, what's the hop system? The hop in this is so it's a rotary style system. I'll try and show it on camera. It is a rotary style system, but slightly different to what you get in an M4 because it is in a perpendicular angle. So rather than it being rotary around the barrel, it's rotary like on top. So it is very, very easy to access. You can either flip the top cover if you really want to, or you can just pull the bolt back and get to it as well. But again, very, very simple system. It does have numbers on it as well. So again, if you do have a habit of running different weight BBs in different locations, etc., like CQB, you might be limited to 2.5s. If you go outdoors, you might want to run 3s or higher. There are numbers on it, so you can mark it and just go, that's my 2.5 hop and that's my 3.2 hop, etc. So very easy to adjust. And again, with it being a rotary style one, does mean it is going to stick in place really, really nicely. Rather than it being a slider, and then as you can see, when you pull it back, you can quite easily get there. And what's really good with it, even without gloves or in-game, you could quite easily adjust it as well. It's got very sort of big castellated pieces on it, so it's very easy to adjust. ODST, does it feature a thread? Yes, mentioned a second ago that underneath the flashlight at the front, it is a 40mm counterclockwise thread, so any of your standard accessories will fit. Speaking of accessories, we do have a built-in rail system on the top here. Again, don't believe it will be removable because I do believe, yes, it is riveted in place. It's not screwed on. It is a permanent fixture to the upper receiver. So you do have a rail section there if you wanted to put a dot sight or anything slightly quirky or different on here. Otherwise, you do have the classic AK sight mount on the left-hand side if you wanted to put something different on there. Please be aware that this rail system does add height to it. So I do believe that most standard sort of AK mounts might not fit purely because of this extra height. They've put this on there to put mounts on so you don't have to use the side mount, but again, it's there because it's part of the real steel. Ray J, can it take Zenith stocks? I actually couldn't tell you right now. I would probably say so with the lower build down here. It looks very similar to all the other stuff that we've had in, but without confirming that, I wouldn't like to give a definite yes or no until I double check it. I'll try and find your comment afterwards. If not, send us a message on Instagram and I'll double check and see if we can find out for definite and give you a confirmed answer, but I wouldn't want to say yes or no as yet. Andrew Beaton on YouTube. What are the mag options at the moment, high cap or mid cap? Currently, the mag option is the one that comes with it. We do have other ones. We do have these on the way. They just they're in a different shipment, so they haven't landed yet. I did mention earlier these are different to the LCT ones. So your LCT PP-19 mags will not fit, and these ones will not fit the LCT. It does have the extended follower, meaning that you are going to get all the BBs out of this, but the one that comes with it is a mid cap, and it is 95 rounds in the mid cap, which I think is a decent size for an SMG style mid cap. Currently, I believe they only do mid caps for this. We do have some on the way. It might be a week or so, but we are definitely going to get them. So just keep your eye out. If you want to grab one of these, please do it now, because obviously they are limited at the moment. So if you want any mags, you can always get them later when they hit us. Speaking of the magwell and everything like that, control-wise, the mag release is on the back here, similar to most AKs. Flicks out, drops down. What also comes in the box is this little piece. So this is the optional flared magwell, simply slides on, and you've got 2 grub screws that you screw in, puts pressure on it, and it pulls it downwards, giving it sort of mounting it in place. It doesn't thread into anything, it is simply pressure that holds it on. So again, if you're wanting that flared magwell look, you've got that option. Personally, I'm not overly a fan of it. I kind of prefer the sort of clean look that the without it gives. And again, these mags are extremely positive. When they slide in, they lock in really nicely. There's very little wobble to them. Very, very easy to get in and out. So yes, very, very well put together and a very, very, very nice build. Again, the magazine, the pistol grip and the front grip are polymer. Everything else on this is steel, and I think that's what's probably giving it that 2.7 kilos really. It does weigh a hecking chunk, we shall say. There is a button at the back here, so pressing that button is what folds the stock over, and slightly differently from AKs, rather than it being a little ramp system, this is the stock holder here. So pressing onto that, and again you will have to lift it slightly, whip it round, and it does immediately lock into place. Internally wise, as I've mentioned, it does have the inline MOSFET. It's a Pico style MOSFET. Apart from that, it's a standard version 3 gearbox. It is an AK style system. I might have mentioned version 2 earlier. It is a version 3 gearbox, so anything that you're looking down the line, if you want to put a gate tighten in this, that is an option. You will have to remove the other MOSFET, but make sure you know what you're doing if you're going to do things like that. Barrel-wise, very surprisingly, and I think it's an Arcturus thing, they have done it in the past with various other things, this has a 6.01mm inner barrel, so an extremely tight bore barrel. So I've always had experiences with things like that work best or perform best on semi-auto. With full auto, you might get a bit of quite a drastic FPS drop-off and sort of a bit of a range drop-off as well. But with it being the 6.01, you are going to get a lot of extremely nice consistent shots throughout the entire mag, and at a decent amount of range too. It is a 250mm inner barrel, so again in a CQB sort of designed weapon. Very, very good. You're going to run this outdoors. Yes, it's 2.7 kilos, but it is compact and quite easy to wield, so you're still going to be able to be fast. You can have a very good range, extreme consistency. I would just stick to sort of semi-auto. You're going to, unless you get into a position where full auto is absolutely essential, and you have to flick to panic mode. But to say we've not had them very, very long, very impressed with it. The build quality is very, very nice. It's got a few sort of quirks to it, we'll call them. And again, these are synonymous between sort of AKs and everything like that. The little mark that you get on the receiver, so as soon as you move it, it will scratch the receiver. And again, all AKs do this, the real ones do it, everything does it. So you're going to have a little mark down there. So if you do get one out the box, if you grab one of these, you're going to have a little mark here where it's been tested, dropping it down. And again, it would be exactly the same as once you've done it twice. Very similar on the top here, exactly the same as the real one. As soon as you press this and lift it up, the rail hits the rear sight. So you get a very small mark on the upper receiver, just here. And again, it's no different to as soon as you get it out of the box and do it, it's just our guys testing it. They lift it up, put a battery in it, and it will cause a little sort of the AK scar that a lot of people call it on here, and the PP-19 scar that you are going to get on the top here. These are completely normal, and you will find them on absolutely every single one of these after they've been used for about 5 seconds. But really, really impressed with these. With it having that 6.01, I'm very excited to try and get these at range. I've only put it through the chrono and tested it on our extremely short range at the moment, but the consistency of FPS was very impressive, just sat almost perfectly. I think there was 1 or 2 FPS sort of deviation between all the shots. Rate of fire was perfectly fine. I'd have to get used to this click in the trigger, so it's almost like it's going over a slight cam style system. I'm used to sort of more electronic triggers, but these are going to be exceptionally impressive. I know it is a bit of maybe a cult following platform and a bit of a Marmite platform. You either love or they hate them, and those that love them desperately want them. So we have got a few in right now, so if you do want to grab them, I would not wait. I'd jump on it and grab it as soon as possible. As always, we will try and get them back in as soon as we possibly can, but it might take a few weeks. But if we've missed your question, I do apologise. If you want to know anything more, or you want us to live stream anything else, please drop us a message on Instagram. We will throw it to the top of the list and try and get it done as quickly as possible. Rather than us just picking things off the shelf that we look cool, we want to pick things that you think are cool and want to engage with. As always, very much appreciate the questions. And if you are enjoying the content we're doing, please drop us a subscription on YouTube, hit like, drop us a comment everywhere that we do it. It's massively appreciated. But if that's everything for today, we'll be back on Wednesday for another product showcase. But if that's it, I'll catch you in a bit. Bye.